Hello, everybody. Retired Police Sergeant Christopher Curtis here from the 7-Second Black Belt. Today, I want to talk to you about a very, very serious topic: road rage. The reason I made this video blog was because I received a phone call from a friend a couple of days ago, and he was involved in a very, very intense road rage situation that escalated to a point where a gun was drawn. That, to me, is the highest level of what a road rage can turn into. We've seen in the news, we've heard on the radio, people get involved in these road rage incidents and people getting shot and killed from what started off as two people getting into an altercation, albeit verbal, because of driving. In fact, the first day of school of this year, a father from Michigan was shot and killed. Allegedly, it was because of a road rage incident. He allegedly got out of the car and confronted the driver of another car that was tailgating him, and there was a whole bunch of back and forth. This is from the news stories. I don't have all the facts right now, but what we do know is that this father is now dead, and his two children and wife are mourning him. What I wanted to talk to you about is that in my career, I've had some extensive background in arriving to these road rage incidents, post a fight, or people calling in on 911 saying it's a road rage incident. And I want to give some background and my perspective on ways that you can protect yourself and avoid getting into these road rage incidents in the first place. Before I say that, I just want to make a quick disclaimer that please look at the laws in your state, city, and make sure that nothing that I say is contrary to what your local laws are. And obviously, if time permits, seek advice of counsel if you're involved in one of these situations and it becomes a criminal case. But let's talk about how not to get into them. A close friend of mine, a guy that I train with in martial arts, told me that he always wanted his record to be 0-0. And I always found that interesting because 0-0 means that you don't get into any fights. And when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. That even if you win a fight, you usually incur some kind of damage, whether it be mental, physical, or spiritual. You incur some kind of damage when you get into a fight. So it's better to avoid a confrontation in the first place. And the same thing goes when it comes to road rage. Every single day that I go out, I observe people committing infractions and violations. And being a cop for so long, I pick up on them. And I can tell you, I'm not holier than thou. I've gotten into my fair share of road rage arguments with people. And after it's over, I always feel bad. And I'm like, I could have completely avoided doing that. A lot of road rage has to do with ego. It has to do with we're feeling like we're right or we've been wronged by someone and we have to exact our revenge or show them that they were wrong. The point is, people are going to continue to drive poorly. It's how we respond to the way that they drive that really matters. And from a life or death perspective and from a criminal justice perspective, you're so much better avoiding the situation at all costs. Number one, if someone does something, don't take it personal. They would have cut off the other person that was driving right behind you, or they would have tailgated you, another person that was driving in your lane. It's not about you. It's really not about you. And if you could take a couple of seconds and just realize that, you can understand that you don't have to take it personal and it's not about ego. Second point, avoid eye contact. I can tell you right now, every single time that I've ever had a little back and forth with another driver over the way they've been driving, the eye contact is the thing that always gets you. It's about challenging the other person. I mean, even in the animal kingdom, if you stare at a dog or dogs stare at each other, the next thing that happens is they usually go at each other. You have to break the eye contact. Same thing is with humans. If a person does something that's wrong, move on. It's so much better to be the bigger person and move on. Remember, we should be thinking about road peace as opposed to road rage. I'd rather get to my destination having avoided a confrontation with the person than get to my destination having had an altercation and proving that I'm right and all of the drama, stress, and nonsense that goes along with it. Remember, you'll forget about a road rage or an interaction with the person if you don't go back and forth with them a lot quicker than you will if it escalates into something very, very serious. And remember, nowadays, there are people with all kinds of weapons in their car, and you never know who it is that you're running into. Because I can tell you, if a person confronts me, you can be sure that I have a firearm in my car. And not that I'm going to use it the wrong way, but there are so many people out there who do. And it's just so much better to avoid the situation at all costs, if possible. The third thing I want to say is call 911 or 311 if a person is making you feel uncomfortable. I teach a class that talks about when you should call 911 and when you should call 311. Let's just make it easy. If you feel threatened or you feel that you or your family or the person that's in the car with you is in danger, call 911. Let the police figure and sort it out. And very often, the police look at who is the person that called 911 or 311 to alert the authorities as some of the deciding factors on how they figure out how to move along with the case. It's always in your benefit to say, hey, there's a person attempting to do something to me. I am looking for some assistance. The fourth thing I'm going to say is I will never ever tell you not to protect or defend yourself. That is your given right, and you should exercise it if necessary. You have the right to protect yourself, and you have the right to protect your family. To what extent you use, that is up to you. I would again advise you to know the statutes and laws in your area, and then think about what ultimately you need to do to protect yourself and your family. I want to leave you with a question, and I'd like you to respond with comments as to your responses, because I find this interesting. I'm just going to present a hypothetical scenario that has probably happened to every single one of us. This is the scenario. You arrive to a place that you want to go shopping. You are about to pull into a parking place that is clearly yours. You're signaling to pull into an empty spot, and then another person comes speeding into the parking lot, looks right at you, and pulls into that spot that you are about to pull into. The response that I would like to hear from you is, what would you do? Retired Police Sergeant Christopher Curtis here from the 7-Second Black Belt. In my seminar, I talk a lot more about these road rage types of situations. I try not to make these blogs too long because I know people don't really want to sit in front of a computer, in front of their phone, and just listen to a talking head. It's much better in the classroom. We can sit and talk and go back and forth and exchange information and stories to help us be better. The ultimate goal from the 7-Second Black Belt is for people to go home safely and be at peace in their lives. So again, signing off. Have a wonderful day. Retired Police Sergeant Christopher Curtis. Log on. 7-Second Black Belt. That's the number 7. secondblackbelt.com.